A very warm welcome to all of you who are joining us today for the My Story event. Those of you who are new to TIE, I am the Acting Executive Director of TIE Silicon Valley. My name is Neha Mishra. And today you are here to listen Suri Chawla. So first of all, a little bit about TIE for those of you who are new to TIE. TIE Silicon Valley is a not-for-profit organization, and we are the first of the founding chapters here in Silicon Valley. Now we are completing 29 years, and we have 61 chapters spread across 15 countries. Um, Apart from our flagship event, which is TiECon, which most of you know of and have attended in the past, we also bring to you a lot of events during the year through like multiple different programs and events that we do. If you've not attended any of them, you can visit sv.tie.org and upcoming events and look at most of the events that are coming up soon, from CXO events to mentoring, networking, TIE Angels, investing related events. We have multiple other programs that we develop for domains, multiple domains, and from blockchain, artificial intelligence. We do bring some of the great events and programs to you. My Story, particularly program, now in its 10th year, started when one of our board members, Naveen Bish, thought that this is something that we want to do, inspiring stories of entrepreneurs who are making it really big. We should share it and inspire the entrepreneur community. That's when My Story started happening. And since then, in last 10 years, Naveen has brought, I think, best of the entrepreneurs for us through this series. A little bit of introduction about Naveen. Naveen is the founder and CEO of Akitra Inc. He himself is a serial entrepreneur, and he has co-founded and led multiple companies in the security and network infrastructure industries. He has been the co-founder and CEO or founder and CEO of Strax, Secure Act, Nana Networks, and Ukiah Software, which got acquired by Novell. And A person who brings you all these inspiring stories himself has a very inspiring background because he did his PhD from University of California, Santa Barbara, then MS from Texas Tech, and the other way around, and BS and MS from Birla Institute of Technology. He holds 5 patents in the areas of artificial intelligence, security, and networking. And he has published several papers and articles on entrepreneurship and industry trends. So without further ado, Naveen, over to you. Please introduce Suri and take it forward.
Thank you, Neha. Really appreciate your kind words. So before we get started, a couple of just housekeeping items. First of all, good morning and good morning to a lot of folks, I think, from the other parts of the world where it's morning who are joining now, as well as evening to the folks over on the western part. Now we have, please make sure you get your questions ready and put it in the Q&A part of this, on your screen. And please try as many as possible so we can cover. And Suri obviously would answer as many as she would like to. So we can cover all the aspects of whatever questions you may have and you want to hear answers from him. So with that, I'd like to introduce you to our wonderful speaker today. So one of the questions entrepreneurs face when you start your your company or your startup is, how do you create a leader in particular segment? So similarly, how do you similarly, that's what Suri did, in created a leading provider of hybrid cloud and DevOps and monitoring services in a short span of time, and also got it acquired with a premium multiple of 420 million by Tech Mahindra in cash. This is basically this company called Digital OnUS was founded in 2015 by Suri to provide managed DevOps and monitoring services for hybrid enterprises. And with the headquarters in the Silicon Valley and wholly owned subsidiaries in Mexico, Canada, and India, company ensured the critical 24/7 coverage for its several hundred customers around the globe. And by partnering with the leading DevOps technology company has been on a rapid growth path and has emerged a leader in this exciting DevOps services businesses in this very short span of time. Within 6 years, since when he got acquired. And Digital OnUS supports clients with cloud native environments, hybrid cloud automation, quality engineering, cloud security, and site reliability engineering automation services. And its partners include SAP Cloud Application Services, Google Cloud, and Cloudbees. Suri started his career as a software programmer at Grindwell Norton, and then he moved into sales and business development at Mastech Majesco back in 1990. And since being an entrepreneur at heart, he started his first venture called Focus Frame as a co-founder in 2001, and which successfully exited in late 2006 to Hexaware Technologies. He completed his degrees in computer science from University of Ottawa in Canada in 1983. So with that, I would like to hand it over to Suri to share his exciting, colorful, and amazing entrepreneurial and professional journey with us. Let's give him a virtual applause. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Naveen. Thank you, Neha, for the wonderful introduction. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. I know I've got confirmation from people in Singapore, from India, from East Coast of US who have kindly joined. So welcome, everybody. And thank you, Thai Silicon Valley, for giving me the opportunity. It's indeed an honor to present my story today. I will try to wrap up my story about 30 to 35 minutes so that I give enough time for people who have questions to ask. Um, so some of the stuff Naveen has already touched upon, so I'll just not repeat too much, but I will go ahead and maybe highlight some of the points that may be relevant for this conversation today. So let me kind of move on to the next slide here. Okay, so this is just to let you know, I was born in Delhi, New Delhi, India, for people who are familiar. Parent of a post-partition, was born and raised in a so-called refugee camp with 20 people, 4 families. I got to know much later there was no power in the house in the early years, but I have no recollection. So all good memories from the early days. That's kind of background. The big break came in when my dad actually got a job in the Foreign Service, and the first posting was in the mid-70s. So we went to Nepal as part of the Indian Embassy. That's where my education kind of started off. My dad did take me to different places. There's one country which is missing on the map. We did spend about 2 years in a place called Algiers in Algeria, North Africa, where I was homeschooled for 2 years. I went back to India. The real education in college and high school came up in Canada. That was a period of 79 to 83. I did last year of my high school. In fact, if you see the picture here, where I probably lack my beard and mustache, that was actually 79 when I graduated from high school in Ottawa, Canada, for Lisgar. Happily sitting in the library, trying to be geeky, one of the geeky guys on those days. Um, Unlike a lot of people who stayed in Canada, found a reason to stay back, I actually flew back to India in 83. I started my career in India in 84. Like as one of the very few people traveled back to India. And in 96, I came with my family, my wife and my 3-year-old daughter, to US, basically in Sunnyvale, California, almost 25 years ago. Very reluctantly to begin with. I was pretty happy working in India at that time, but there was an opportunity which I could not say no to. I came in, of course, I had a little struggling time in 97, 98, but I think came out of that really, really well. And that is, I've been here in the California Bay Area for the last almost 25 years. So that's kind of the little bit of my background and childhood. Let me kind of move on to the next slide. I know Naveen talked about this first startup. So I took my first startup break. A lot of people say, what time should we start a company? And I said, there's no right time. Whenever you feel financially secure, whenever you see the right opportunity, you should do it. I started company in 2001, where my son was exactly born. He was just maybe not even born, he was about to be born when I handed my first check to my partners to start the company, which is end of 2000. And 2001, January started. I'm not kidding. I think I had less than $40,000 savings in a bank account. That's all I had. And I gave half of that to start the company. So a lot of people say, were you mad? And I said, no, I got nothing to lose. And everybody knows how bad 2001 was, right? Everything went bad. The dot-com companies went bust, right? One after the other, all the dot companies are kind of falling by the wayside. And if you don't remember, 9/11 also happened that year. It was a pretty tough year for everybody. So we decided, you know what, we'll keep the website up and running. And if things don't work out, January 2002, we'll look for a job. I do remember my partner who's on the picture here on the other side next. So both of us sat down. We had another third partner. I remember after 9/11, we sat down in Los Gatos downtown, having a coffee. He said, hey, you know what? I know this is not something we anticipated. It is what it is. We will give it another 3 months. We anyways paid money to do the website. Let's keep it running and keep looking. And you would not believe it. In October of 2001, right 1 month after 9/11, we landed 3 deals, right? I remember very vividly everything that happened in 2001, but how it went from 2002 to 2006 when it sold, I have no recollection, right? But like I said, every small event, every small failure, every small success of first year, I remember very vividly. But nothing, if you ask me what happened, how did you go from 0 to selling a company for 36 million in 2006? I would not be able to tell you any of the details in between. It was so fast and furious. We were so busy kind of growing the company. And so that was the first full exit that in 2006. We sold at that time to Hexaware for 36 million. So that was the first taste of success. We were supposed to stay for 2 years with Hexaware. And I started saying almost 8 years post-acquisition. One is to make sure the team was well settled. And also the buyer got value from our acquisition. And I think also they gave me a right environment to kind of stay longer. And like I said, that kept me there till 2015, till I started my next venture. So this is the next venture I started in 2015, to be precise, May 1st, 2015, when I sat in my backyard and I wrote the first business plan in the back of my house. And it's very ironic. When I started, I was alone sitting in the backyard. And when I sold the company in about a month or 2 months ago, again, I was sitting alone because of COVID. I could not go out and celebrate. This is me signing the paper, the LOI that was kind of given by Tech Mahindra. That was me signing the whole LOI in my living room and kind of scanning and sending it to Tech Mahindra, saying, you know what, we are in. So that's kind of the ironic part here. Other than that, a lot of people say, you know what, how did you take company this time from 2015 to 2021, selling for 120 million, right? I think let me show you a business plan. Anybody can has any question. I'm happy to show a PowerPoint which has a timestamp, which is saved. I saved it very well, and the timestamp is 1st of May 2015. And let me show what I put down in those slides. And I'm going to just present one slide of that PowerPoint that I created, right? So it has five bullet points. Let me start with the first one, right? First one, you say, you know what? We will be a services company, not a quasi-product company, not anything else. We said we will be a services company. First of all, there needs to be clarity, right? What kind of company you want to be. We said very clear, this will be IT services company and nothing else, no products, right? We said the products are not our forte. We'll just switch to services. Next thing, and this is something I'm not kidding, we predicted. Call it whatever you want. Call it the foresight. Call it the experience that he had. We had, and this is something all the management team, the first 10 people that joined from executives to almost 35 to 40 people has seen this slide. Every time we meet, I put this slide up. So they were very clear that sometime in 2020 we will exit, right? So the exit plan needs to be very clear. We said, you know what, this is not about a lifestyle business. We're going to build this to sell, right? And you're going to build value in the company every 6 months, every 3 months, every month, right? We're going to put the money back and grow. And we said the buyer we even predicted it'll be large IT services company, which has missed out on the digital transformation boom, right? They'll be likely buyer, right, for this company. We predicted the revenue to be about 50 million run rate and EBITDA 20%, right? That's something very important for us to kind of look at because those two parameters for services company are very clear, right? Unlike product companies, you don't have to make profit for a number of years. You still get acquired for insane multiples. Services company, EBITDA matters, right? You have to be profitable. People will value EBITDA more than just revenue. So if you have a high revenue with lower EBITDA, it will ding your valuation in a big way, right? So you need to make sure the EBITDA is north of 20%, which is considered healthy EBITDA, right? Third, we said we will sell for valuation with 80 and 100 million because I was going by the multiple that we got from the previous sell, right? Typically good companies will go from 2 to 3 multiples, right? That's the plan we had. But we said one conservative said, you know what, we should look for 2 times our revenue multiple. So assuming you hit $50 million run rate and you hit 20% EBITDA, we should be able to get somewhere between 80 to $100 million valuation in 2020, right? And second thing he said, we cannot grow if your base is not strong. So he said, 75% of the services that we build year over year needs to come from a long-term annuity business. That means the business needs to continue, right? There has to be certainty in the business that you build, needs to continue for multi-years. It should not be in and out. And that's again, a lesson I learned from the last startup focus frame. We went in high end, we got really high rates. We charged big 5 consulting rates, $200, $250 an hour. But those are project-based. The project out over here to hunt for new business, right? So this time we wanted to make sure we built a long-term annuity by building a low-cost center in nearshore, right? Next thing that we said, we'll invest in significant IPs. And because to us to be able to differentiate as a small company, a services company against big players, you need to build IP. Without IP, people will not take you seriously. They want to be able to see that these guys are gone 2 levels deeper than a lot of the other services company, and they're not throwing bodies at us, right? They come with just not good people. They also with the learning that they have from other projects, right? So that's number 3. Number 4, we said we need to leverage channels. Why are channels important? Channels are important because that's what gives you a sustained go-to-market over long term. A lot of people walk in, they use the Rolodex to get the first 10 customers, 5 customers. But if you don't have a sustained go-to-market, which is led by channel, chances are you're not going to grow beyond a certain point. You will stagnate and you'll be stuck in what you call an orbit. I'll talk more about that orbit in a few minutes, right? And the fifth and the last thing that we put on the slide, that we will leverage on-site, nearshore, offshore in 24/7. You need tool coverage, right? We want a nearshore in a very clear way because a lot of people were not thinking nearshore. And even my first company, Focus Frame, when we started, 50% of the workforce was based in Mexico. And nobody was even thinking Mexico as a nearshore center in 2001. And I also went very reluctant to do Mexico at that time. And God, I was so happy that, you know what, I discovered Mexico in 2001 as an IT destination because nobody considered Mexico in those years as a for IT. They went for vacations to Cancun, but the brand image was never for IT. And we discovered the Mexico nearshore in 2001. And I doubled down on that strategy for nearshore for this new company, where almost 80% of the workforce that I have right now in the company came out of Mexico. These are Mexican nationals, not people who moved from other places. These are Mexican nationals based in Mexico. And the other part that I built is in Canada. In Canada, as you know, I studied in Canada. There's a lot of affinity. So I have almost a 75-member team in Canada right now. All senior engineers and architects are based. The leadership team is all based here in the US. That's kind of the structure right now for the composition of the team. Coming to the next slide, let me just make sure I don't run out of time. Okay, then okay. So why this slide? This is just to give you, when I started in 2015, to give you a glimpse of where we were, right? So I think on the top left is probably since just to let you know, the services company, no one other the VCs will come and fund. Do not even count on any VCs funding you. It needs to be bootstrapped. It needs to be self-sustained. So the lady up there on the top left is the person who financed, who happens to be my wife, and she kind of stood behind it. Without the support, of course, you'll not go anywhere. So it's our money that we put in from day one, and she was in one sense the first of the partners or whatever you want to call it, part of the game from day one, right? Going diagonally down, this is the lady, Viridiana, and her husband. When he started the Mexico operation in 2015, they were with me from day one, signing that whole incorporation in Mexico. That again happened in 2015, right? Then we have SAP and Classmate. These are the first 2 customers that he signed in 2015. And if you look at the last picture on the right side, that is what the company looked like as of December. So we started in May of 2015. In December 2015, these are the people. And one of them, of course, is spouse. If you discount, we only 5 employees at the end of 2015. And those are what the company looked like at the end of 2015, right? Why am I showing this picture? Just to let you know, every customer that he signed in 2015, right? Every employee that he had in 2015, they're still with us even today, including my wife, of course, jokes apart. So everybody that's in the picture is still with us today. And these are all the accomplishment. Because if you are not able to retain the customers with yourself, if you're not able to retain the employees, because services company is all about, is about human capital, right? That's the only asset, right? If you can't keep your customers, if you can't keep your employees, a services company will not going to survive. So that is something that you need to put your heart into it. And we made very sure that we're gonna stay customer focused, razor focus on it, keeping them happy, make sure they added value. And not only those customers stayed, but they've grown over a period of time, including this year, all the customers have grown. Okay. Coming to the next slide. So this is where I want to talk about, what are the 5 different things as a services company that you need to be clear about, right? To me, let me start with the first one. First of all, you need to be very clear when you start a company, right? Of course, you need to be clear about services versus products. Assuming you made a decision that, hey, you know what? I'm going to be a services company. You need to go a level deeper. Is the services company going to be lifestyle where you need to kind of take out money? Or you're going to put everything back into the company to sell, right? It's a very important distinction that you need to make, because the decisions you make over a period of time will determine how the growth will happen and what's important to you, right? In our case, we were very clear that you're going to sell the company in 2020. We're going to put every dollar back into the company. This is about building the scale and to sell. It's not about lifestyle. It's not about taking profit and distributing amongst the top executives and feeling rich every year. A lot of people do that. They'll take 50% of the profit. You know what? I don't know what's going to happen in the company. I don't want to take the risk. Let me take 80% of my profit, or let me take half my profit away, right? I actually did not take a single salary for about a year and a half. I first made sure that I hired the right people before I pay myself, because without hiring the right people, company will not scale. So my first salary came about a year and a half, and that salary was also minimal just to sustain my expenses, right? So making sure that what is the purpose behind for service company is very critical. You need to be very clear. The decisions that you make will be very different, right? Also, a lot of people think, you know what, I will build products. I'll build IP. You need to be very clear. Building an IP to support services is different from building a product company. I will highly recommend that you don't do 2 things. Highly mean I will say don't even do it, right? One, never work full-time on a job and run a services company on the side. A lot of people think they can do that, and a lot of people even do that. But what happens is you will not be able to devote time in growth. You need to feel the pain, right? It's important that you step away and focus on growing this business, feel the pain of growing the company, right? And building a product is a different mindset. It requires a different set of skill sets. So please do not mix up your software products with services company. That's something I'll advise. But build IP. IP should not be sold as a product. IP should be sold as a service enabler. That means you should not be charging for that IP, right? It should show up as a differentiator to sell services, right? That's something that I would highly recommend. Second thing is focus on 1 or 2 niche areas. I'll give you an example. When we first started the company, my first startup, I remember myself and my partners came from EY. They did a lot of Siebel implementation. I don't know how many people know Siebel. Siebel was a big CRM company in those days, right? It got acquired by Oracle eventually. So we went to Siebel and say, hey, you know what? We know all of you, right? You know us as really well. We want to sign up as a partner. And he said, yeah, I'd love to sign you as a partner, pay your fees. We got 800 partners. We'll find a niche area for you to play, and we'll talk to you, right? And that time he said, we also want to do testing. So I remember talking to Mercury Interactive in those days. I'd done some business with them. He said, you guys are really popular. A lot of the dot companies are using your product, Load Runner and other stuff, your Wind Runner, to test the .com. And we like to sign up as a partner. I said, you know what, welcome. I think we like you. We like more partners. We have 300 partners and sign up and talk to you. And he said, you know what, this is not going to work. What he did was he said, you know what, we're going to go back with one story. And that story initially was what? You know what, we are Siebel tester. We know how the business process of Siebel are. We are the best people to do Siebel testing. And suddenly I got a call from the VP of West Coast from Mercury. He said, Suri, I want to talk to you because to me, we got a lot of partners who do a lot of .com testing, but nobody's come back and say, you know what, we do Siebel testing. And we have a lot of market that are not interesting. Can you talk to my sales team and talk to them how you do Siebel testing? And similarly, when I went to Siebel, and they said, Suri, this is something very unique. You know what? When we never do testing, we just tell the users, whenever we sell Siebel services, professional services, we said, you know what, testing is below us. You guys do the testing, we'll just do implementation and walk away. But this is a very sizable 30, 40% of the budget that you're leaving behind. But if you can come and help us, we can do a joint business. And suddenly the whole story, by focusing on a niche, we become ahead of the line in both places, become a number one partner of Mercury Interactive. And Siebel, we created a testing opportunity which they were leaving on the table. And suddenly the whole thing kicked off by focusing on a niche. So that's the reason this niche story, when you're starting out, is very clear. Don't try to do everything to everyone because people think you're confused and they will not take you seriously. Say, you know what, take 1 or 2 areas and say, you know what, we're a lot deeper. And that's the story that you do. And same thing when you started DigitalOnUS, we said, we are the hybrid multi-cloud specialist for DevOps and DevSecOps. That's the story we went with because a lot of people are still talking about partnership with Google. They're still talking about partnership with Amazon. And we knew we're not going to survive being part of the big guys. We'll be one of those thousands of partners that they have. Instead, what it did was we picked up a partner which was coming up and coming, still very small at that time, but their focus was on hybrid and multi-cloud. And that partnership paid out big dividends for us. And today, a lot of the deals that came on enterprise deals that we won last 2 years is because we invested in a partnership almost 4 years ago or 5 years ago, right? So that again, a very key lesson that I learned. Coming to next slide, right? What are the next key point, right? To me, you go to market. I'm a sales guy at heart, right? To me, I'm not a technologist, right? I'm a sales guy. I know how to go to market. I pay a lot of attention, a lot of weightage to go to market. To us, a lot of people are talked about this orbit, right? A lot of people get stuck in these orbits. A lot of people who build a business, they'll go from 1 to 5 and they stay in 5 for the next 10 years. A lot of people will be smarter. They'll go from 1 to 10 and they stay for 10 for a number of years, right? So like that, there'll be some people stuck at 2, some people stuck at 5, some people stuck at 10, and they're not able to scale beyond. And I've seen people, I go back after 10 years, they'll be 9, 10, 11, 5, 6, 7, 8. They're stuck in those kind of orbit. And it's very important to set goals, right? And set goals on exit rates. So something that I pay a lot of attention is exit rate. Every year in December, when I go to next year, what should be my monthly exit rate? Because that will determine how much you're going to do the following year, right? So, and that sustainability will only come when you have a very sustained go-to-market. And sustainable go-to-market only comes with the right partner, right? It's very important to find the right partner who will bring you into deals where you can go to market with them. And that part you have to take to heart to scale. Otherwise, you'll grow, but you stagnate at a certain orbit. And only way to break out orbit is to do a partnership. Now, the other thing is investing, right? I talked about investing. A lot of people, when they said in second year, I remember this is the first street is Monterrey office in Mexico that he created. And first of all, we picked a location which was the most prime location. That means all the IBMs and Deloittes and Accentures were all in the same area, same 6 buildings. Why did he choose? Because the office was way beyond our means. It was expensive. A lot of people say, no, why are you doing this? Why don't you take an office which is pre-built? You know, it's only 2 miles away. I said, you know what, to attract talent, people need to feel good about coming to an office and feel good. So we took the office in the best building. Not only that, we went to the highest floor. At that time, I know it pinched a lot. We spent $300,000 in building the office alone from scratch. And we took the penthouse kind of office floor of that building on the top floor. And we built the office from scratch because, you know, when people come, that's the only thing you have to show is the location, is the office. People need to feel proud coming to the office. So we invested big time. Even in second year, we had no money. We invested it in making a great office so people feel good. Similarly, like in Guadalajara, I remember people said, you know what, yeah, we only 30, 40 people. Why are you renting an office? You can take 200 people. This is where you have to think ahead, right? It kind of builds pressure. When you build an office of 200 people, there's always pressure to fill it up, right? Second, it also gives a lot of confidence to people that, you know what, we have ability to scale. There's a place for people to grow, right? So those kind of decisions are very critical for services company, right? That, you know, you give a right work environment, a place that they can feel proud of coming in, give them all the facilities. Everybody in Monterey, you know, we're paying, so the parking fees that we're paying in Mexico per employee is higher than what I'm paying in downtown San Jose office per month, right? And you pay for every employee, so they can feel good, they can park the car and work to office and feel good about showing up in this office. That pride needs to be there, right, in the offices. Um, Second thing is basically find the right software partner. I talked about you know, finding the right partner, hybrid multi-cloud. You will not believe we signed up with HashiCorp as a partner when they had one salesperson. And I remember now they're the #1 company in hybrid multi-cloud. Last funding that they raised at almost a $6-7 billion valuation. And they're the reason that investment that they made 5 years ago, right? And we became partner here for 2 years in a row, is paying big time dividend. They're the ones that took us from doing small startup companies, which is what our first set of customers that we won in Bay Area, to winning some of the large enterprise Fortune 500 customers. Those wins are only possible because the partner brings us in. Because to us, any startup services company, if two questions get asked, chances are you're not going to get a business, right? What are those two questions? I know they're on the screen. One, if any customer or prospect asks you, you know, how big is the company? Or they ask you, where have we done it before? The moment those two questions come up, you're not going to win the deal. But miraculously, if a partner says, you know what, here's DigitalOnUs, we highly recommend you talk to them. Those two questions never come up. Doesn't matter, it's a Fortune 500 customer or a mid-sized company, does not matter. This question never come up. So that's the power of partnership, the right partnership that you have to understand. We're able to build direct MSAs with large Fortune 500 customers. Despite COVID times, we won some really good customers last year. And to a large extent, these are influenced by a partner recommending us, you know what, this is a company that you need to work with. And HashiCorp, what does HashiCorp do? HashiCorp only interested in licenses. They promote services company. So partnering with a company which is not in conflict with you, where you help them fill the licenses, they will get you in for services, right? So that's the key that I want to highlight. Second thing is go deep, right? So we have only two partners that we invested a lot. One is HashiCorp and second is SAP. In SAP, of course, we work with the Enterprise Cloud Services Group. Again, we didn't do everything and anything. We went straight to the Cloud Services Group and he said, you know what, we've done SAP in the past, but you also know DevOps and DevSecOps. Gives an opportunity to be your partner. So they reluctantly tried us about 5-6 years ago with 5 people. And today we are close to 100 people working for them across on 24/7, supporting almost 1,000 plus customers there for them, right? And not only are we doing a good job, but we also award-winning partners. This is the left picture on the left is the award that we won from SAP as a partner, strategic partner of the year for the Enterprise Cloud Services. And of course, with HashiCorp, we won a Partner of the Year award for SI Partner of the Year award 2 years in a row, including last 2 years. Okay, so that's kind of the power. So go deep into partnership, invest, talk to the salespeople. So having those partnerships is not good enough. If the salespeople don't engage with you, the salespeople don't talk to you on those organizations, then the relationship, the partner relationship is one-sided. It's not going to go anywhere. Okay. Let me quickly see on the time. So let me see if I can wrap up. I got two or three more slides, then I open it up. The number 4 point basically is a lot of people talk about, you know what, build a team which is complementary to your skills and build people which are smarter than you. And it is 100% true in my case, right? I'm just a sales guy. I think almost half the company can talk about cloud technology much better than I can, right? In terms of in front of the client, right? And to me, surrounding myself with really smart people was something that really helped us scale, right? I'll tell you, I only hired the first five people in Mexico. The remaining 400 people are hired by the lady who runs a Mexico operation. Last 2 years, I've not been involved in any sales opportunity where I had to go and sell. The team themselves have gone to sell, right? So there's a gentleman who's kind of came in, he helped with the vision. So he's kind of built a team, right? Invested in him, he invested back, right? So likewise, There's no second guessing involved, right? The other thing I did was, on this company, a lot of people also questioned my reasoning for it. They said, Suri, you invested, you didn't take any VC money. You invested every dollar. Why did you dilute yourself? And I did, let's you know, I dilute my equity down to almost half. I just a little over 50%. So almost 48, 49% in equity is distributed to people. What it did was people felt ownership to the company. To me, I guess, you know what, I can own 90% of the company of a small pie. I said, you know what, it's better to take half, right? Keep a majority wherever we can, but make the pie much bigger where it can change lives. And I'm very proud to say with this acquisition, almost every employee that has joined us first 2, 3 years, which has stock equity, almost everybody's life has changed. It's been a life-changing event for not only for me, but about 120 families that are changed, right? Some became dollar multimillionaires. Some were able to buy houses back in Mexico, cash down. That's kind of the proud moment. I mean, to me, of course, I felt good about my exit, but the kind of video message that I got, the message that I got, were very emotional to me, right? They said, you know what, Suri, you changed a life. And that to me itself was a reason, you know what, selling was the right time. And I think your happiness grows multiple fold when you carry the whole stream of people with you, when people also benefit from this exit, right? So coming back to that, let me, I know kind of get a sidetrack here, but having that part, having building the right culture is important. Let me show you some pictures to demonstrate, right? So this is the leadership team in the middle, right? This is very important. A lot of people, when I ask, they do not have a very strong middle management team or management team which can carry the day. So picture in the middle is a team. This is all mid managers and up. And this is a picture from 3 years old. So you can say almost 25, 30 people, right? Out of 200 people, maybe 150 people, maybe 180 people, I'll say, somewhere in the middle, 178 to 180 people. And almost 25 people we had or mid management team, and all of them are non-billing. None of them are billing resources, right? They're coming in, or maybe maybe a couple, you can say partially billing, but almost 90% or 100% non-billing. And they're the ones who are required to build a company. These are salespeople, practice people, delivery people, HR, or marketing, you can name it, everything. So you need to make sure that you invest in a middle management team. Otherwise, the team is not going to go, you're not going to scale. So you may bring the revenue, but if the team is not there to scale up, you're going to suffer, right? And we used to meet every quarter in person, no matter where we were. We'll fly all over the world. We'll get together one place every 3 months. We meet in person. The other thing which you have to do is our services company is very important because you'll hire people. A lot of people get hired within 2 months, 1 month they'll go to customer. A lot of times people who relate to customers more than your own company, right? And what I used to do, or what I used to do every year, once a year, without fail, we'll fly everybody into one location. And last 5 years we did that in Mexico. It doesn't matter, you know, what level employee you are. If you just joined 2 months ago, 3 months ago, you're level 1 to level 10, doesn't really matter. Whether you work in Canada, US, Mexico, whichever city in Mexico, everyone will fly out in one location. We'll be together for 3 or 4 days. And I remember we asked that question, Suri, why are you doing this? We have over 300 people all over the company. Why are you inviting? This is almost 2 years ago, 2019. That question got asked. Why don't you do 3 different events in 3 different locations? I say, you know what? The impact will be lost. I don't care. Get everybody in the plane. I know we'll lose billable revenue, which is fine. But investing in that is very critical. And this is something I learned from our first company, Mastech. They used to do something called runtime, where they flew everybody in. And that I still have very vivid memories, very fond memories of how we all came together as one company for those 4 days. And that's what kind of brought the belongingness back to the company. So I kind of caught on that message and I implemented it every year without fail. I will bring everybody else in. Till today, those people talk about those get-togethers. Last year, unfortunately, the first year we didn't do it in person, but we did it over Zoom. But I think that's something you need to do every year. And that's something that investment is very necessary for people to feel belongingness to the company. Otherwise, you'll not be able to build a brand and togetherness. Like I said, management team, everybody met 3 months in a row. I would fly out every 6 months to a different location to be with the people. But getting the company together at least once a year, maybe more, if it's smaller, do it more often. But it's a large company, when you need 300, 400 people, at least once a year, get them all together, sacrifice 2 days of billing, sacrifice the cost of flying. In fact, I got 2 pictures. Somebody tells me there's a flight from Monterrey to Guadalajara. Somebody clicked the picture. 90% of people on the flight were all from our company. right? Flying in to Guadalajara, and felt good, really good. And I remember taking a flight from Monterey to Houston, and I look back, almost every seat of first class in United plane, and about another half the plane was all our DigitalOnUS people flying in that. It gives a kind of good kind of feeling of belongingness, right? That you need to feel proud of. Okay. Again, culture is very important. I mean, being in Silicon Valley, we understand being an open culture, talking to people, relating to them is very key. Keeping the video games, keeping the ping pong table, giving that kind of fun atmosphere is very important for people to feel good. So that's something you need to kind of be very conscious, and we kind of implemented that across offices. Keep an open culture, no cabins, no kind of glass doors. Everybody sits in an open area and can talk to each other, right? Other highlight which happened 2 years ago in 2019, happened to be a good year. We were first time we kind of applied, maybe second year in applied. We were ranked #1 in as the fastest growing company in the whole of Silicon Valley. That was a proud moment, of course, which kind of people rallied behind, right? And we are number 89 overall across all companies in terms of growth, right? And of course, the other ratings, we're #2 in IT services. So those kind of things need to kind of apply, and it takes a little while of painful to apply for those things. But getting the recognition also gives people to rally behind the company. It's a feel good that you need to invest. Also, we were the #1 best place to code in Mexico. So those kind of stuff, those kind of branding is important to attract talent from outside. When people say this is the fastest growing company, or this is the fastest, best place to code, it helps branding, it helps people come and join and work for you. Okay. Last and not the least point, basically execute, execute, execute. I remember I started with a slide. We told you, right, we put a vision up, and after that, you need to kind of sit and execute. You need to be relentless on revenue growth. People said if you're not growing, you're dying. So revenue growth of 20-30% is not good enough for me, right? In early years, you have to triple, quadruple, right? And you need to double up, you need to double your revenue at least first 4 years to make sure that you're on the right track, right? Other key important for a service company is to play a lot of important the gross margin. If you don't sell services at a healthy gross margin, you'll not be able to invest in the management team, the middle tier, right? So making sure that the healthy gross margin is important, because that will let you invest back in the middle management team and let you grow. And it'll also keep an EBIT at the end. And it'll also, you need to focus relentlessly on employee retention. We don't forget, this is the only asset you have is employees. If you don't invest in them, if you don't take care of them, there is no services company, period, right? You can have all the customers that you want. If people are going to stay around, I'm very proud to say we were able to maintain low single-digit attrition, which is unheard of in the industry. The other proud factor that we did is almost 50% of our mid-management team and up are led by women. Something very unique for IT companies that I'm very proud of. Again, I credit some of the leadership that you have, women leadership that you have, to attract that kind of talent, right? Don't expect any banks or VCs. I could not even get a line of credit from a bank for 5 years. So be prepared for that. VCs, of course, will never invest in service company, period. So don't even go to them. Don't even waste time with them, right? And of course, there'll be operational bumps. So we had 2 major bumps. One major bump was about 3 years ago. We had one customer called Adidas, a startup company, was going up a rocket ship. So we went from like 1 people, 2 people to 17 people. And 17 people and a total of 50 total company. We had 50 people size, 17 people, 1 account. And one fine day, got a call, Suri, our funding did not come. We're stopping. Please tell the team not to show up, right? And that's the time a lot of people, a lot of the vendors got into lawsuits to them. And we played ball. They said, you know what, it is what it is. We said, you know what, we understand. We committed to paying us. I understand you cannot pay us. We agreed. We wrote off a lot of amounts. But good, important thing is we left things on a very good term. And I sat with the CEO many times. We're very appreciative. We settled something. He said, you know what, okay, this amount, understand, is a bad time. We'll absorb. And also had to carry the bench for almost 3 months. But one thing that happened, I'll tell you when this is where karma comes in. The CTO of that company joined another company, which is a much larger company. The person saw how we treated the whole process. Person says, Suri, I will take care. Within 3 months, he invited us to that company that he joined right after. And that company, after we not only took the 17 people, that today is the largest customer that he owned today, right? It's almost like a $14 to $15 million customer for us, one customer alone. Because we managed that customer really well, we did not fight, we did not go into any lawsuit. We said, you know what, it is what it is. We settled down in a very amicable way. We took a big hit, of course, but the process of keeping that account in a good feel, the one or two people that left and joined, they really helped us out. So I think it's very important not to burn any bridges in these kind of things, right? And of course, COVID-19 hit like us, like anybody else. We had a bit of slowdown. We lost a few customers in March, April last year. A lot of customers came in and asked for discounts, which you again honored. We didn't fight anybody. We said better to keep the customer than saying, you know what, we're going to do this. Again, every customer that we gave discount came back within 3 months, say, you know what, on their own, said, I don't think you need to discount anymore. You can go back to your regular rates, right? We like your people, we don't want to lose them. And we still managed almost a 50% healthy growth last year, despite COVID-19. That kind of shows in service company, if you treat your customers well, if you treat your employees well, if you invest in growth and you stay razor sharp focus on gross margin, think you will succeed. There's absolutely no way you can fail. So with that, like I said, I was also blessed to keep light mentors because not everything you can think of. Getting a right person to advise you on marketing, the right person to advise you on the key parameters. So keeping those right advisors is good. We chose mentors which worked out well. First 2 years didn't work out, but it didn't ding them. We let them keep the equity. But there were a lot of mentors that came in. So it's important that you surround yourself with some of the learned people to keep you honest on your journey. Okay. So with that, back to you guys, to you, Naveen.
Thank you, Suri. Thank you. What an amazing story. And obviously lots of insightful nuggets and lessons you provided to all of us. And, entrepreneurs, aspiring, serial, everyone. So really, thank you so much. With that, so let's get going because we have a number of questions from the audience. Of course, there's a huge attendance today we have here. I would just start with one quick question is, remember, I mean, one of the fascinating things I always felt about your story and with this company is like the multiple, like almost like 4x multiple of the revenue you sold it, which is unheard of, at least the ones I know of. Mostly, even when you have some IP, etc., usually it's 1.5 times. I remember, I used to have some senior exec friends at Cognizant. They were just talking to them. So could you define a little bit or give an example of an IP, let's say, here, which is like talked about a little bit in the presentation, that as an enabler, and what would that be specific example for some of the aspiring, some of the entrepreneurs in the attendance who are probably doing a service company so they can create a huge value?
Sure. I think the key thing, like I said, to me, first of all, the first company when we sold, just to let you know, we did not hire a banker. So I will highly recommend anybody who's going out to sell, take a help of a banker. I know it costs a little bit of fees, but it pays multiple times. So I learned that lesson. First time we did not use a banker. We use banker this time. Huge benefit. They will open up the market like crazy for you. I think things that paid in our favor are 4 things which helped us. One is our laser focus on hybrid multi-cloud, right? That focus is very critical. That we're able to win deals, large Fortune 500 clients because of message. And we want deals against a lot of large SIs. We want deals against big SIs out of India, big SIs in US global, because we were able to portray a story which is 2 or 3 levels deeper, based on IP, based on experience, right? That's number one. Second thing which played in our favor was a nearshore story, right? A lot of this people don't realize, offshore, of course, has a strong value component. It's good to have offshore. Nothing against offshore, it does really well. But a lot of this new age cloud stories, they need to have some component nearshore. A lot of the buyers will lead a nearshore story. So that played in our favor as well. So having that Mexico nearshore and Canada nearshore was a big plus point for a lot of the buyers. You know what? Okay, this is something we're weak in. It looks like the entire company is based here. That's second thing which really helped. Third thing they saw was the management bandwidth, right? They said, you know what? These are not this is a 2-person-led company. There's a really solid people who can come and scale, right? That played in our favor. Fourth thing was our healthy growth, right? We're able to show that we're able to maintain healthy gross margins. We're able to show EBITDA, which is almost best in class, right? And third is with the kind of customer that they have. They said, what we can take customers that they have And you can cross-sell, upsell more services than just cloud, right? So those are 4 or 5 things played into the multiple that they're able to get. So one is a growth, a focus on the hybrid multi-cloud that a lot of people want to get in, nearshore story, the kind of customer that you have, and the mid management and the management team. Those 5 played into the highest multiple. Of course, the bankers open doors. I think they reached out to 36 companies of different sizes. Almost 30 of them came back, wanted to talk to us, and they did talk to almost 30. There were about 5 companies who were really serious bidders on the high end. There were some bidders in the mid tier, right? Which are, in fact, all of them, all 30 offers are beyond the offer that we wanted. We given them a price point. Almost 30, all 30 came in, but the 5 which are even a lot higher than we were imagining. So we went to those top 5, and they had a flavor of large SI, mid-size SI, some couple of private equity owned firms. So we had those kind of mix. I said, let's focus on those 5. Because difference between them and the other offers we had. That's the reason, even though we wanted 70, 80 million, we ended up getting 120 because there was a huge competition for us.
That's very good. Thank you, Siri. So can you still, is there anything you can like elaborate a little bit on the IP part of the enabling, like you say, as a service company, other than, of course, there was a combination of all these factors in terms of the multiple, the acquisition price, but on the IP enablement, can you give some advice to that, the folks who are in service industry here?
So IP, guys, IP is important for 2 reasons. IP is important for one, it lets a buyer, a customer take you more seriously, right? Because chances are when you go to them, they're going to say, what do you bring to table? Of course, a partner say, go to them. But when a big SI presents a PowerPoint, their PowerPoint will be a lot stronger than yours anyways, because they'll protect 1,000 customers more than you have. But when you say, what, here are the landing zones that are able to provide for AWS. Here's the landing zone I can give you for Google. Now that you're starting from scratch, you can actually start with 30% work already done, right? And that gives a lot of comfort to a lot of people. You know what, these guys are not learning from us. They already done this before. And there's almost a 30%, 40% leg up that I can give me with all the created IP that they have, right? So these are all, we do not charge our customers for those IP, just to be very clear. These are given as a free, as part of the services to the companies. So it's very key to that.
No, that's really good. I mean, that's a good for a lot of folks who are in the service business to understand, I think, how to create more value and give more value. So, okay, with that, let me get to the audience questions. So the first question is from a gentleman called Kushal Arvind Shah. He says, were there any acquisition offers from the partners like Google, SAP, HashiCorp, etc.?
No. So I think the one thing you have to realize is the services company will be valuable only to services company, right? A lot of product companies do not want to grow the services company because it dilutes their valuation, right? Their valuation is tied to the license revenue growth, right? So the last thing they would want to do is to grow revenue through services. That kind of brings down the valuation. So their motto is to kind of focus on licenses and work with partners to do services. So first of all, we did not even approach those companies, and we did not get any unsolicited offer from any one of them. If that's the question.
Yeah. Okay. And the second is from Frank Vieira. How do you create and implement a culture for your company?
I think this is something I learned a long time ago. Like I said, my first experience with a company out of India, and I saw for the first hand, how they treat like a family, right? I think the word family is, so you need to implement in spirit, not just by saying word. You need to be able to say that in spirit. That means you go out, you meet these people, doesn't matter what they are, in spending time with individual people, right? I would still go back to, let's say, Mexico, bulk of the team. I'll show up every month, every 4 to 6 weeks, and spend time with different levels. You know what? I'd go with the coffee with one group of people, with the dinner with some set of people, breakfast with some other people. I'll go running with some other group of people, depending what the interest is. Getting the feel of what's happening in company is very important. Staying in touch. Do not be very hierarchical in your mind, right? Keep a flat organization. Yeah. Second thing is, coming from Silicon Valley, we understand that people like to relax. It should not be all work, work, work. Keeping a good food items, creating a good coffee, keeping a ping pong table, keeping a video game thing, creating the soccer teams. We even created soccer teams which kind of plays, right? Keep creating a running group. The various ways you can build a culture in the company, right? And more importantly, making sure that once a year, at least once a year, the entire company comes together under one roof and they become part of the company. That investment is huge. to keep the culture alive, right?
Yeah,
So I
very,
think
very good
those are
comment.
I think keep it flat, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, next question is from Tony. Dear Suri, at the beginning when you started your business, how do you and the company win the trust of the partners? I'm sure a lot of other entrepreneurs will also love to hear that because everyone goes through that scenario.
So I'll give two examples. The first two partners assigned 2015 was SAP. SAP, there was a history. The first company that was sold almost in 2006, we had created an IP that was sold to SAP. And what happened is the relationship, again, it's all about relationship to build over a period of time. And when I started this company in 2015, I went back to the same people, say, hey, you know what, I'm thinking of starting my own company. And that's why they opened up, say, no, Suri, we worked with you, really liked you, we'll give you the opportunity. So they opened a door, they became the executive sponsor, but there's no commitment to revenue. I still have to go and prove myself. But really they opened doors to give me that leg up, say, really you can sign up as a partner. So that's what happened in 2015. And secondly, HashiCorp, just to let you know, we signed when they only for one salesperson. That's more of a foresight of one of the persons that I really value. We need. So he came in as a cloud, first one of the few CTOs that we hired. And he's the one, Suri, this is a company which has a story, right? You need to look at this company. We did try Cloudbees. We did try, which is a Jenkins Enterprise version. We tried, Puppet and Chef, those companies as well. But till we hit the HashiCorp as a jackpot in terms of partnership. Once we got in, we got in at the right time. We invested a lot. First 3 years, just to let you know, we put a lot of time and money in. We did not get a single deal, or not enough to justify all the investment. It's only started paying in 4 years. So you need to kind of stay very focused and believe in that partnership. And it's a matter of time. When they grow big, they will bring you to deals. So that came into last 2 years. It got more than paid off, the partnership. Hope
That's
that
awesome. Yeah, next question is from Hector Perez. What's first? Have a sales order from a new prospect customer or build a team solid solution?
I think it's build a team. To me, I think to me, I hired people. I believed in people. I built a team before the first customer. So I think again, it's a different situation for everybody. I was lucky because I had some finance. I had some money which I made in the first company. I was able to invest back. A lot of people may not have that. They may wait for the first order, but I was very clear for me to invest back. So I was a fifth or sixth guy to get paid in terms of the hierarchy. So I make sure the first 5 people are hired before I paid myself.
Great. Next question is from Raj Kapani, good friend of ours. So Raj is asking, how did you select your board of directors? What did you look for in a board member?
I'll be very honest. I did not ever create a board, so-called formal board, right? I didn't feel a need, but I did surround myself with a lot of advisors, right? So there's a difference of advisors. So there was no formal board, just to make it clear. But I did surround myself with the board, a lot of advisors. One of them is actually a long-term time member, a good family friend, Paul Singh, right? A lot of people know you. He's been advising me right from day one. So he came in and he kept me honest on branding and marketing, and also kind of making sure as a CEO where to kind of kept me in line. And I also hired a lot of people. Initially, when you're thinking on IP, we thought maybe we should do something with machine learning and cloud. We did hire some of the advisors to help out. Those days, again, all those advisors came on an equity because money was not on table for them, but they all kind of came in. So we built a lot of advisors at the time, and advisors that were brought on board kept changing over a period of time. But there's no formal board.
Okay, next question is from Faris Saleh. What was the biggest challenge you experienced in starting Digital OnUS, and how did you overcome it? It's kind of a generic question.
I think the biggest challenge is finding the right team. That I think finding the people who you can trust, that complement you, not who say yes to you, people who can challenge you. I think once you have the right team, I think things will work out. And having done this before, I had a strong belief, right, that things will work out. And I think right after day one, the first thing that happened, March, maybe signed, and within a month we signed the SAP partnership. And the moment the SAP partnership was signed, at least I was very clear, I'm not going to go hungry. I was not, at least I knew, you know what, I will be able, it's a matter of time before something will click in, because I had enough goodwill within the ecosystem to somebody say, you know what, I'll give you a chance. So I was never afraid of that. The only worry was at one time when one big client went away. when will the next deal come in? How hope the 70 people go bank? Because once you let one person go, it's very difficult. Even in COVID times, when we lost a lot of customers, not only we did not lay off a single person, we kept every person on board. We actually accelerated the raises. A lot of people forced salaries. We gave salary raises as we were, and we preponed by 3 months. So a lot of these bold decisions we took at that time, which are kind of helped us retain the people. So those are two times, one when you lost a big customer Editas, and second COVID time. A little bit of anxiety, I'll say, not a fear, but anxiety, I would say.
Okay. So next, the question is, did you, Vijay Chavan, did you give equity to partners?
So partner like HashiCorp and SAP, of course, no. That'd be a conflict of interest, no. So when you say partners, I did not have any business partner from this, but I think lack of, so we had like 5 people that I call the core team, which kind of came in at the senior level executive, I call them executives. So all of them have a sizable equity. Like I said, I diluted myself from 100 down to maybe 50, 51. So 48% distributed. And I think all of them, I'll not name them, but all of them became dollar multimillionaires with this deal, right? So that extent, there was a wealth sharing with them, equity sharing with them. Of course, and then I also shared equity with another 120 plus employees on top of that.
That's very good. Thank you. So Suri, actually, it's already 7 o'clock. Do you have time? Because we have a number of questions today. 10, 15 minutes
I'm
extra.
happy to stay there. For another 5, 10 minutes, of course, I'll be happy to.
Okay. All right. Thank you. So next question is from Tony. When you select employees, do you value more on their hard skills or soft skills like attitude, loyalty, dedication, hard work, and soft and hard work, and so on? So basically, hard skills versus soft skills. What do you focus on basically when you select them?
Yeah, the answer is very clear. Definitely people with the right attitude and soft skills, right? Yeah. Even if they're 50% are technical, right? I think that's good enough for me. I will invest in those people as long as the right attitude. They may not have everything, I'll teach. Like I said, there's one person who came to me early on. He was in pre-sales. He said, Suri, I want to start a company of my own down the road. I need to learn sales. I said, I'll invest my time in getting you there, right? So just to let you know, the first 5 people that came in, I had never been the CEO of any company before in my life, right? I came in blind. I was head of sales. First company, there are 3 partners. I played the role of a head of sales. I was a co-founder, president title, but I was running sales, right? But I never ran end-to-end sales. The lady who came to me from Mexico, right? She ran the operations, right? She never ran this kind of operations before, right? Person who runs sales today did not know sales before. So there's an investment that you need to make in people. But I look for right attitude and a commitment more than being super technical, because last thing you want, a guy is super technical, but with the attitude, those people will run the company down.
Absolutely. I totally agree. Next question is from, I'm just trying to choose, and there are a number of questions from same people also, but I'm trying to make sure I cover first all different people, and I'll come back to them. Hector Perez, why don't we see huge investment by VCs as we see it with other digital platform startups?
I think the answer is very simple. We're a services company. As services company, investment multiples are not very high. And what VCs look for is a much higher multiple, right? So this is they only look at companies where they can put 100 and they can get 2 million, right? That's kind of that's the kind of returns they want to look for. Most of the people who may invest in services company will be down the road after you're profitable. Those will be private equity firms, not VC firms. The PE firms will be very happy to invest in you because they don't look for those kind of high returns. Hope that answers the question.
Anand, the question from Anand, when did you decide on your service, hybrid cloud, DevOps? What kind of insights did you have?
So just to let you know, when we started, all we knew was it's going to be digital, something to do with digital, right? That's the only thing we knew in 2015, with digital engineering space. Yeah. And we also very clear, we're not going to be the thought leaders. We're not going to be the guys who will come in and tell you how this sort of digital transformation need to take place. That's not us. We were very clear. We'll do something which, once you decided what you want to do, through software, through technology, will accelerate the implementation. That's the part we're very clear, because that's the part we knew we were good at, right? So once you decided what you want to do in your cloud, once you know what to do, we will come and accelerate the whole data transformation journey. That's the only part we were clear. It's only a period of time when I started talking to the technology first companies here in Bay Area, which is all the Series A, Series B, Series C funded companies. Those are the first set of customers that we won in the Valley. And we saw what the requirement, what journey they were taking, what are they focusing on. And that's the learning that we got from them. You say, you know what, if that's the way these guys have, chances are the enterprise world will follow 2, 3 years from now. Let's learn now. Let's build the IP. So when the right time comes, the enterprise world will come to us. And exactly that played out for us.
Yeah. Next question is from Vipin Chawla. And what kind of equity arrangement did you have with advisors?
I can't go a lot of detail, but it's just very minimal.
Yeah, of course.
Very minimal.
So Anand, next question is from Kiran. Hold on a second. Kiran Elenjikal. Hi, Suri. Thanks for the session and the walkthrough. How easy was it to set up offices in Mexico? Were there any challenges that you faced? And also any advices for someone planning to set up a near shore in Mexico?
Sure. So Mexico, just to let you know, my fortune was that I started as Mexico. I explored Mexico way back in 2001 before anybody else even thought of Mexico. Right. When I went in, nobody was there. None of the IT companies were there from US. Of course, the local companies like Softtech and those are all there, but none of the other companies, none of the Indian SIs are there. Right now, if you go, almost every company you can think of. In fact, in the building we're in, a lot of Indian SIs are also kind of scattered around. So not everybody is there now. I think the key thing to do is that you have to understand the Mexico culture really, really well. What matters to those people? I think they like the open culture. They like the Silicon Valley culture, right? I remember when I first told the first 10 employees they're gonna get stock, they were in tears. You know what? They did not expect somebody to part ownership to them. He said, "Now I'm making a part owner," and that touched a lot of people because a lot of companies don't do that. And I made sure, even the lady who first hire that he had, one of the first hires we had, she was an admin person, right? She managed a front office administrator, right? Single mom, gave her equity. That kind of set example of what kind of company we're trying to build. So building a culture, building local branding, doing a lot of meetups, right, is very important. Being visible to be able to attract talent. So we spend a lot of time in social media, in-person meetings, sponsoring Java days, investing and making that they got a great environment to work in, right? Those are important. And of course, understanding in Mexico, I was very fortunate. I had a local face to the company who was running the Mexico operation and never interfered. She ran the whole operation. And she had a sizable, of course, stake in the company, but also she was very emotionally bonded to this whole company from day one. That showed, right? When she went to talk to people, she was able to attract the talent. And when you take out the first set of people down below, it's a rippling effect.
Very nice. Next one is from Cesar Gonzalez. Regards from Monterrey, Mexico. Thanks for sharing your experience. Congrats on for your successful career. What is next?
So right now, my immediate goal is for a foreseeable future. We have a commitment to Tech Mahindra as a buyer. I will be there for the next few years to make sure that the integration is successful and there's a value that comes out of this whole creation. It's very important for entrepreneurs not to sell and walk away because they're buying the company for resources, right? They're buying the company to stick around, not just customers, they also want people. And I'm going to play like I did in the first company. I was there, supposed to be there for 2 years for the earnout, spent 8 years. Right now, this is a 3-year earnout, but chances are we'll all stay much longer than that. That's the hope and that's the intention as well.
Great. Next is from Marco Dionas. What do you consider it's the main value to success, work environment, if you have a top one?
I think
meaning main value. Yeah. Sorry.
So what's the question one more time?
No. So what do you consider it's the main what do you consider? I'm guessing what he's saying is the main value to success is the work environment, or if you have any other value.
It's multiple things, right? One is the laser focus on what you are, right? Picking the right area because you cannot be everything, right? We said we're not machine learning expert, we're not the IoT specialist, we're not a top Google partner, we're not top AWS partner. You said pick a niche, whatever that niche is, you can go multiple ways. Second is investing, right? Investing in the right time, go to market. Same 5 things that I talked about, right? Which are crucial. Mm-hmm. So it's not just one thing alone. Building the right team, building the right go to market, right? Building the right basically messaging, right? Bring the right partnership, right? making sure there's a sticky business, annuity component is very large. So those all those 4 points kind of make you successful. I think you drop one and you're gonna suffer.
The next one is more of congratulations for our own Mr. Vis Mishra. I'm sure you know Vis very well. Everyone knows Vis. Who doesn't know Vis in Silicon Valley or all over the world? So as our, the founding member of TIE, as well as past president, board member. So he wanted to wish you congratulations. Next question is from Lalit Gajare. Were MOUs or LOIs with partners more one-sided in the were MOUs or LOIs with partners were they one-sided in the beginning, or how did you manage their expectations?
So to me, the partnership, like I said, partnership, let's take HashiCorp, right? As a partner, to me, it doesn't matter what kind of MOU you sign with corporate. To me, it is, those are people who can say no, right? The people who can say yes on the field, right? So of course you need to get this, your alliance partner certified, get your initial certification brought done. But that doesn't get you, what gets you engaged is when salespeople like you, right? Focusing on making sure that you make a salesperson life easy by making sure that there's a licenses, everything else will happen automatically, right? So your focus should not be making the alliance person happy or the top corporate guy happy. Your focus should be to engage with the sales rep on the field every day, every single moment of the day, right? Understanding what pipeline they have. So that means basically making sure that you don't work with any of the competitors. That's the only time they'll open up, right? Pick one partner, go deep, and making sure sales rep trusts you that if I share a lead, this person doesn't have a best interest to work with my competitor, right? Those things are very important. So salespeople have to like you. So you have to make their life easy. Become the sales engineering arm, right? Become the pre-sales arm for those guys, right? If they win the license deal, guess what? Services is yours by default.
Very good point. Last question from Dheeraj Bora. What was tougher to grow from 0 to 10 million or 10 to 50? As you are sales at heart, but then you focus to manage the company. Do you think the sales growth could have been higher? I guess what he's saying is later on, probably you're focusing more on the managing the company rather than sales. If you had been focused purely on sales, would it be higher?
No, so I think the first question is pretty easy, right? It's 0 to 10 is simply the hardest, right? Because the first year you do some revenue, it takes time to build customer, right? It takes, just to let you know, to win a new logo, a new customer, right? And the first 2 people take about 6 months. The next 100 take another 6 months. That's all. That's how it is, right? To get the first 2 people in the door, it takes a long time, and the next 100 takes about the same amount of time if you invest, right? So gaining an account is as important as farming the account. So farming is a very important aspect of growing account. So that part is easy. Now, to me, the key thing which kind of held back our growth at any given time, maybe cash flows. See, to us, if you execute well, right? Even you're doubling, tripling, right? And the bank is not giving you any money, right? There's only so much money you can put in the company, right? So that's why EBITDA margins are good. So to me, I think the only way we'd have grown faster, maybe if you had maybe X amount of money sitting in a bank, you could freely use it.
All right. So Suri, with that, let me ask you the last question as usual. So, so what do you see? I mean, let's say if you were to start again today as a service company like you did for other entrepreneurs, so what would you focus on in terms of trends? Let's say someone who is planning to start today came here to get inspired and obviously wants to focus in on some trends where you think a service company like you did, kind of betting on HashiCorp, if I, hearing your story, what would you advise?
I mean, we all know Silicon Valley, right? Remember when .com was going, everything was .com, and then when .com bust happened, people think that's the end of the world, right? Nothing else is going to happen. There's no further innovation. Next thing you know, this whole thing, cloud came in, right? It kind of took off. Started with hyperscalers, now it's moving to hybrid multi-cloud. Next thing you know, I think like MLOps will come in, right? Those will come in a big way. They'll be marrying up the artificial intelligence. This IoT is scratching the surface, right? The manufacturing, there's so many ways you can go build services company, right? So I think there's no shortage. Yes.
That's really, thank you so much, Suri. So again, really appreciate your being here and like spending our 15 minutes with us audience, and still, there were like over 115 or so attended, and I know there were 250 signed up, which I had mentioned to you. So a lot of them came, went, and I'm sure learned a lot. Really appreciate it again very much. And also for everyone else, we have the next My Story will be on August 17th. Cana Securities founder will be there. Ed Billis, co-founder and CTO. The company was acquired by Cisco recently, a few months ago, for vulnerability management. Then we have, so anyway, so please make sure you attend. And with that, let's give a virtual round of applause. And thank you to Suri for being here. Thank you again. Really.
Thank you.
Namaste.
Yep.
Thank you, everything. All right. Bye-bye.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.